Well, this just feels very being back at when I first started doing videos and it was like awkwardly in my room. This is what it feels like. But I needed to be in front of a window, and even then things look a little orange. I'm gonna play with the white balance, let's see. It's a bit of an improvement, yeah. Awkward, I know, and I've yet to figure it out, and I don't think I will figure it out for a while, how I'm gonna set everything up. I might move back to over there, even though the lighting's not great. I might just have to get another light, get an illuminated makeup mirror, and use that to light the other side. I don't know, it's not really that big of an issue, as long as I just can get some kind of light in here, it's fine. I just wanted to do, and I know this has sort of become a thing, but it's something that you guys know I like, foundations. My top 5 favorite foundations as of now, because it will change throughout the year, but as of now being summer, which also can sort of, I guess, work as like my favorite summer foundations, or the summer foundations that I'm using a lot for summer. It's a lot of summer, isn't it? First of all, I read this article in my roommate's actual magazine. It's the Tilda Swinton one, which is May 2013. It's called Generation SPF, and it's talking about how like our parents in the Generation X, because we're Generation Y, anyone born 1977 through 2000, we're Generation Y, and they are X, which is I think the baby boomer. No, I don't know. Anyway. Sunscreen was really important to them, and as the years have progressed, sunscreen I think is not as important to people, but she, from a very young age, has this author, the writer, has had sunscreen on for a long time. Since she was born, she's just always like got in the habit of putting sunscreen on because that's what our parents taught us, and a lot of us have sort of fallen out of that. Yeah, it's the generation that was wearing sunscreen that are kids that are moms now. Foundation may be a thing of the past, or may soon be a thing of the past, replaced by sheer, barely there formulas. Women from this generation don't want to cover up their skin, she says, nor do they need to. Which I think is interesting, because I know so many people my age are obsessed with full coverage and they want to look flawless, and it's not a good idea, first of all, because it doesn't look right. You just need to work in thin layers anyway. But that's besides the point. The point is that people who grew up wearing a lot of sunscreen and wore sunscreen all the time, and that's just what they were taught, don't have as many imperfections on their face now due to sun damage, and that in turn means that they don't end up having to buy as full coverage foundations, which changes the market of the type of foundations that companies are producing, and they're producing a lot more sheer formulas, which is, I mean, me personally, it's what I prefer. And especially now that my skin is really, you know, my life was changed by Accutane, I bless it, but really the only thing left is textural issues, which you can't fix by foundation anyway. I have ever so slight bit of discoloration that I like to cover up, and I can do that with just using a sheer foundation and maybe a little bit of like a mineral powder on top. So this will sort of explain a lot of that. So we'll just start off with my absolute favorite of all time, shaker bottle. It can be only one of 2 things that I own, right? Chanel Vitalumiere Aqua. I have the shade B30, yeah, or 30 beige, which is not ideal for me right now. It's a bit light, but it is formula-wise the best foundation that I have. I much prefer it to the Estee Lauder Invisible Fluid, which I also have, sort of a similar idea. I just find that this has a nicer finish. It gives a little bit better coverage, so you end up having to use less concealer, but you still have that light, airy kind of feel of the foundation on your face. You don't feel like you're wearing much. It doesn't look like you're wearing hardly anything. It just sort of it improves the look of your skin rather than the look of your foundation, if that makes sense. So it's pricey at $45, and I know not everyone can afford that, and I understand that. Like, I'm a college student, I understand, but if there's a few things that I would invest in, it's really good skincare and a good foundation. You can get eyeliner and mascara from the drugstore, you can get lipstick from the drugstore, but a good foundation made by a good company that's formulated well will really make all the difference. And there are some drugstore ones that will do that. I have yet to find a drugstore one that is just like sort of the same idea as this yet. So we'll see. Continuing on with the Chanel craze, plain old Vitalumiere, which was made before Vitalumiere Aqua. This one is also 30 beige, but it's intensity 1.5, but it's Sandra, and this is a lot darker than this. This basically is how it looks in the packaging. As you can see, this one the Vitalumiere is a lot darker. So I used to have to mix these together as I was transitioning into summer, but now that I've gotten just a little bit of color, it just will happen naturally. I tan really easily. This is the perfect shade for me now. And the finish of this is glowy and beautiful and perfect. It looks very refreshed for summertime, which I really like. I don't like the look of heavy powder or anything like that. I mean, as you can see, I'm glowing right now. I just think matte skin in the summertime looks very weird and it looks too much like makeup. This will give you a little bit more coverage than Vitalumiere Aqua, but it also tends to glow more. This does not have as much alcohol in it though, so if that's something you're worried about. And I would probably stay away from this if you have oily skin, just because the oil will probably react with the kind of finish of this, and it might make it look too shiny to where it's the point of it's an annoying thing to deal with blotting all day. But it's definitely a great one if you have normal or dry skin. Scent is amazing, beautiful finish. It's great for summer and all year round. The drugstore option, Maybelline Fit Me. I've had this, buddy, 2 years. Amazing. And before this whole Goss makeup artist thing, like, I loved this and I will stick true to it. Not a great one if you have an oilier skin. I'd say if you are slightly combination, you could get away with it, but oily would be just, I think, too much. This is the same idea. It's medium, about medium coverage. I'd say light to medium, now that I'm thinking about it, but the finish is just beautiful and glowy, and this blends beautifully, and it doesn't really sit on the skin as much as it sort of blends into your skin. It's not going to look like a mask as long as you just work with it in thin layers. I like to use my fingers. Most of these things I use my fingers, just because that's the best way, I think, to sort of smooth everything out, or to use a foundation brush and really just work it in to your skin as thin as you can. But a very inexpensive drugstore foundation, and definitely one worth checking out. It's wonderful. Doesn't smell too great, but it's the drugstore version of this, I definitely have to say. Because I have both, and I can compare both. NARS Pure Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. It only makes sense to have something that's a tinted moisturizer in the summertime that's just quick and easy to throw on. If you want to use a BB cream, that's going to be your prerogative and up to you. I find them to be fairly pointless unless they have ingredients that would suggest that they will make a difference in your skin texture and tone, but the rest are just tinted moisturizers, so might as well just buy one that's labeled properly. This is St. Moritz, which is medium 1, which is a lot darker than I thought it was going to be, but this ends up working beautiful for summer. It's not a super glowy finish, it's definitely not as shiny as this, and obviously not as full coverage, but you still will get a not flat look. You will have a little bit of dimension and glow to your skin. And then last but not least, Mercier Mineral Powder. And the reason I love this, and I had to tape these shut when I moved, so there's like scotch tape on everything. It's really, really ratchet. Real ratchet. But the thing about this that I love is, even though, again, it's a bit dark, a lot of these things are a different color than what I am during the rest of the year, because I do tend to get darker even if I avoid the sun at all costs. It just happens. And I wear sunscreen every day, don't worry, I'm not stupid. And this is in Rich Vanilla, but this is a mineral powder with SPF 15, which a really high concentration of zinc oxide, so it's, again, calming for the skin, as zinc oxide is. And the reason I love this is because it is a powder that doesn't look like a powder. It goes on the skin, and yes, it will set everything. This is often what I use to set foundations. They're maybe a bit too light for me because I still want to wear them because of the texture, because of the finish, because of the consistency, and just the way that they feel and look on my skin. But I still want to be able to look like the right color, so I put this on top because it doesn't do much other than alter the color a little bit and just set the makeup without looking flat. Because there's not a matte foundation that I can think of that I use on a regular basis. But this is excellent because it is a not flat looking powder, and it also doesn't turn orange or like rusty like Bare Minerals does. And it blends beautifully, and the packaging is excellent, and I really can't speak highly enough about this. It's something that I think, even if you wear it on your own with just a little bit of like luminizing primer, you can still wear a powder, but you won't look flat, which I really love. I love some texture and dimension and all that kind of fun stuff. So definitely one to look into. So that is it. I think the next video I want to talk about cream foundations, because the NARS cream foundation just launched, or is going to soon. I got mine early. Which I'll tell you about, and I'll just talk about cream foundations. And then I think eventually I want to do a foundation video for like what foundation is good for your skin type and why. And what foundations you should avoid, and just a really comprehensive look at them, because I think it's something that I personally think is the most important thing you can have, other than, you know, like I said, good skincare. But there's ways to go about picking foundations that are going to look nice on you, I think. So, yeah, I guess look forward to that, friends, and I will talk to all of you later. Hopefully this was helpful, and bye, friends!